Before I start this video, I would like to give 2 warnings. This video is packed full of spoilers, and so I advise you to either go play Masochisia first or watch my Let's Play before continuing. The second warning is about the graphic nature of this game itself and the backstory I'm going to discuss. Please do not watch this video if you are in any way affected by tales of abuse and murder. Masochisia is an indie psychological horror game released in 2015 by developer John Oldblood. It follows the tale of a mentally disturbed man named Hamilton. Throughout the game you have interactions with a number of people and delusions that shape the troubling path you walk as this man. You also come across a number of coded messages. In this video I'm going to reveal the significance of those messages. I first realised there was more to this game than initially meets the eye when I read the description of it on the Steam store page. As you can see, there are 4 codes clearly displayed on the About section. Cracking the code was actually relatively simple and didn't require any cracking of any sort. The numbers you see here are hexadecimal values, which is a base 16 numbering system. In our normal day-to-day lives, we use the decimal numbering system, which is base 10, using the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, whereas a base 16 system uses 0 through 9 and then A through F. Using these hexadecimal values, you can find their ASCII equivalent and work out what the message is. The first one reads, "Obey me," the second, "Trust me," the third, "Follow me," and finally, "Kill me." The hex values are dotted throughout the game and reveal a lot about the true story this game is based on. In Act 2 you come across the Guardian, who asks you to reveal the words of power to him before he will allow you to proceed into the shrine. The answer is found carved into the tree in Hamilton's backyard. 44, 45, 41, 44. This is the word dead. It's interesting to note that at one point your brother Albert, who we later find out is actually dead, stands right in front of this message. Coincidence? I don't think so. In Act 5 you murder poor young Billy. In the location where you commit the deed you can find a message scrawled on the far left hand side. It reads, "Flesh Eater." I probably don't need to explain to you exactly what that implies about dear Mr. Hamilton, but I will expand on this shortly. In the final act of the game you're face to face with a demon who's been pretty much guiding you down this horrific path from the beginning. As the truth of your relationship to Grace is revealed, more hex values cascade across the screen. Do you remember the taste? Kill. Take. Eat. Now take her. This is pretty much where the hidden messages end, as the twist to the tale is revealed. You are playing a cannibalistic serial killer. You kill and eat children. In fact, not only are you playing as a murderer, you are playing as one that actually existed in real life. And I know who. So let me explain to you how I discovered the true story Masochisia was based on. On the main screen of the game we're greeted with this hexagonal shape. There is actually loads of information available to us here, so I'm going to break this down. The first major hint at the backstory is 46, 49, 53, 48. When translated, this reads fish. I had a quick Google at this point and nothing was really coming together for me, so I went back and translated these other 2 hexadecimal values. They're both dates. Shove all 3 pieces of information into Google and you find out about Hamilton, Howard, Albert Fish, who was born on and died on the dates listed here. The real-life Hamilton spent most of his childhood years being abused in an orphanage after his 80-year-old father died when Hamilton was just 5 years old. His mother suffered from hallucinations, his sister was said to have a mental affliction, and his brother was locked away in a state mental hospital. The real-life Hamilton adopted his brother Albert's name after the sibling passed away. This is reflected in Masochisia, where you encounter your deceased brother Albert throughout the game, and you also go back and forth between using the names Hamilton and Albert during the visits with the psychiatrist. The real-life Hamilton had other names he also went by, although they were adopted under completely different circumstances than the name Albert. One such name was the Grey Man, which is a character we meet in Masochisia at the very beginning of the game, and again later where he describes how he killed a child in a brutal way. Another one of these names was the Werewolf of Wisteria, who we encounter midway through Masochisia as our mental state begins to decline. The real-life Hamilton also used aliases to the people he would then go on to hurt. Frank Howard is one of these names that he used in real life, which can be seen in-game as an option during your first conversation with young Billy. The real-life Hamilton began molesting young children at an early age himself, and started self-harming not long after that by pushing needles into his groin, where 29 of them remained until his death. You encounter a similar act of self-harming in Masochisia, where you have to use needles to snap yourself back to reality. The real-life Hamilton then escalated from sexual abuse to torture, mutilation, and murder. Like the character Hamilton in the game, the real-life Hamilton had implements of hell, namely a meat cleaver, handsaw, and butcher's knife. Such tools were used on Billy Gaffney, who was violently tortured and murdered by Hamilton in 1927. In Masochisia, we also kill Billy, and the name Gaffney can be spotted behind Billy's head just before we murder him and mutilate his corpse. Grace, the faceless girl in Masochisia, is another victim of the real-life Hamilton. She was the first child that he ate after killing. Her name was Grace Budd, and she was murdered in 1928 by strangulation and her body was said to have been cut into pieces and consumed by Hamilton. He confessed to killing Grace in a letter he sent to her family in 1934. This letter was delivered in an envelope that had a small emblem on it in the shape of a hexagon with the letters NYPCBA. That shape and those letters are seen throughout Masochisia. The main screen features both. The wall behind your brother Walter's head has just the letters scribbled on it, and you are given the option to select NYPCBA when you first speak to the Guardian. The acronym stands for New York Private Chauffeurs Benevolent Association, which had zero relation to Hamilton himself. He just came across the stationery in a room he rented. The hexagonal shape can also be seen carved into the tree in your backyard in the game, on the headboard of your father's bed, and the cursor itself is a hexagon. The real-life Hamilton was arrested following the letter being received in 1934. He was tried in 1935 for Grace's murder, where the jurors said he was insane but felt he needed to be executed. They officially found him to be sane and guilty, and he was sentenced to death. Hamilton Howard Albert Fish was executed by electric chair in 1936. Masochisia is, without a shadow of a doubt, the most chilling game I have ever played. Not only does it have all of these hidden links with a real tale, it leaves notes on your desktop outside of the game, and there are even hidden messages within the music itself. On a track called Sacrament, you can hear a voice telling you to kill them, take them, when you reverse the track. And on a track called The Shrine, well, when that's reversed, just listen for yourself.
You've come to me. Now you must obey. We are the messengers, the mouths, find your voice and
Masochisia messes with your head in so many different ways, and then, when you realise that it's based on a true story and that you're playing the part of a sick, twisted individual who committed the most gruesome acts on children ever imaginable, it just messes with you that little bit more.